Hey everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book series recommendation video. Hey, good morning you guys. So my voice is a little bit croaky today or something, so just bear with me. I'm not sure, I think the allergies are starting to kick up or something's going on, so I just sound really croaky, so just bear with my voice today. Okay, so the series that I want to bring to you today is, for me, it's like a long awaited. It's been on my shelves for a really long time, and I just don't know why I delayed. I want to kick myself because I love it, and that is the Addicted to You series and the Calloway sisters. This series has everything that I love about books. So let me talk overall about the series, and then we can get into each of the books. So the Addicted to You and the Calloway sisters consist of 10 books, and there is a specific reading order. So I'm going to present the books in the reading order that is recommended by Krista and Becca Ritchie, okay? Because that's going to be the best reading experience, because if you read them in any other order, it'll really spoil what's going on, because it really is an intertwined family saga or dynamic, right? Okay, so what I really love about it is that each book is about a particular couple and their relationship challenges and struggles, and it ends in an HEA. But there's always so much more that goes into a relationship, even after you decide to stay together and you have your HEA, you have things that you still have to work through. And this series brings in some legitimate, real concerns in terms of family dynamics, being raised by a particular mother and how that shapes how you approach stressors, anxiety, addiction, all of those things. But at the same time, it also brings in strong family bonds, friendship, a core group of friends that you see. So each book ends in an HEA, but as you move through each of the books, you get cameos from all of the other couples. So we see everybody growing and developing over time. And then what happens after the HEA. And then they're also dealing with really strong things or strong dynamics like addiction, anxiety, alcoholism, sex addiction, and how do the people that you love help you through that? And in some ways it seems intrusive, and in other ways it doesn't. It is needed and necessary. And also how the media, when you're dealing with a family dynasty, my long held opinion is that the media often is the biggest bullies of them all. So we talk about this cancel culture that we live in, and we talk about how we should treat people with respect and with dignity, and we should use appropriate language when referring to certain people with certain challenges or disabilities. And I feel like in the media, I often sit back and listen to a report and go, that's not appropriate, or that's not okay, or that's bullying. And this series really brings that to light in a really comical way, but at the same time in a really sad and poignant way. So I could go on and on. This series is an absolute 5 out of 5 star. Every single book I feel like is a 5, except for maybe 1 or 2, and I'll explain why. I just love this world, and I'm sad to be leaving it. And then there is a continuation, which is the Like Us books, which I have not read yet, but it seems like it's like the second generation. It's some of the kids of some of these characters. So I'm going to read those books at a later date, but for today, let's just talk about the Addicted and the Calloway sisters. So the first book in the series is Addicted to You, and I absolutely love it. This is Lily Calloway, who's 21 years old, and she is addicted to sex. She is addicted to sex. Sex addiction comes from a place of OCD, much like any other OCD or compulsion comes from, but you get a high and a rush from the adrenaline that is associated with an orgasm, and so you are constantly chasing that and constantly wanting to feel good and wanting to feel better about your circumstances than you do. And she feels miserable because of her home life and because of her mother, and because she has been basically shucked aside and not really cared for or cared about, and is not really important. She's also very shy, and she's very introverted. Her best friend growing up is Lauren Hale. They've been friends from the time, almost out of the cradle. And so her parents, she comes from a very esteemed and wealthy family. It's a dynasty. And her mother basically has multiple girls, the Calloway sisters, has multiple girls, and has never really put much stock or time into Lily because Lily was so shy and quiet. She didn't think that she had any assets to really cultivate and develop, so she didn't pour into it. And because she was best friends with Lowe, he comes from the Hale Corporation, again, another financial mega dynasty. The mother was like, Lily's gonna marry Lauren, so I don't have to pour anything into her, so just let her go. And so from the time she was very young, she was sleeping over at Lauren's house. And so as the story evolves, they're like, what mother allows their daughter to sleep at a guy's house when she's like, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old? There was no supervision whatsoever. So Lauren is an alcoholic. So very quickly in the story, you learn that it's a fake dating trope, right? And it's also forced proximity. So the fake dating trope is that, they know early on that Lauren is an alcoholic. And so he's like made a deal with his family. He's basically said, I'm not going to drink anymore. You see once I'm with, Lily that I'm not drinking. So like, we're fine. And nobody knows that Lily is a sex addict. So they keep their addiction to themselves. So they create this fake dating thing, which is like their family will stay off their back if they believe that they're in a relationship and dating. And Lo can drink in secret and Lily can like sleep with all these people, and Lo will basically keep her safe, if you will. And the story sort of evolves from there. And it's about dealing with their addiction, letting people into their lives because they are very isolated and alone. And the only people that are in their lives are Lo and Lily. And it's always only been Lo and Lily. But the thing is that they really do love each other. But their addiction hurts one another. It hurts them and it hurts each other as well. And so it's slowly about opening up and allowing people into their lives. And when they allow people into their lives, like Connor comes in to be a tutor for Lily. When Connor starts to see what's going on, he starts to like intervene a little bit. And then you find that Connor has a relationship with Rose, which is a Calloway. Rose is Lily's older sister. So the story is starting to unfold and develop. And this story is full of angst. It is so good. It's full of romance. There's just, it's amazing. And so once they decide to try to like make a go of it, and he's going to try to not drink, they decide she's not going to cheat, he's not going to be excessively drinking, and their friends are going to try to help them through it. And so this overall is a 5, angst it's a 4, and spice it's a 2. It's amazing. It's such a good story. But you just know that their story is not over because they have so much to overcome. How can they overcome it in this little book? They can't. There's so much more to go. Hence, the story continues. And so the next book in the series is Ricochet, and this is a friends to lovers story. And this is really the story of how it continues. So what's happening with Lo? So Lo decides that he's gonna go to rehab and Lily is left on her own. And it's like, can they survive the 3 months that he is in rehab? And can she not cheat? Because she's a sex addict, so what is she going to do and how is she going to handle it? And also when you go to rehab, for the first month or for the first period, you can't have any communication. You can't talk to anybody, you can't have your phone, nobody knows where you are. So Lily is really struggling with this, and it's like, can she do it? And so her sisters are really stepping in to help her. So Daisy takes her to a party, they play a game, there's some situations that happen where Lily is gonna have to be faced with people from her past, like people know that they don't know she's a sex addict, but they know she's been sleeping around and doing stuff, so it brings up a lot of drama. Her younger sister Daisy, so in the Calloway sisters, there's Poppy, Rose, Lily, and Daisy. And Daisy is the youngest. And at this time, I think Daisy is about like 15 years old. And so when they go to this party where Daisy takes Lily out to try to help her to kind of get her mind off of Lo, because like she's obsessing about where Lo is, somebody roofies Daisy at a party. And that's where Reich comes in. And Reich is like a friend. And we find out more about who Reich is. And Reich figures out what's going on, and Reich and I think Connor get Daisy out of that situation and get Lily out of that situation and really take care of the girls in this, in this situation. So again, the story is evolving and developing. This is an overall 5. The spice is a 3 and angst is a 4. It's so good. Addicted for Now is the next book in the series. And again, we're seeing more about Lily and Lo. right? So 90 days apart, he didn't drink, she didn't cheat, but what happens now? We see that this Aaron character is back sending really threatening texts to Lily, threatening to expose her sex addiction, so they're trying to figure out how to deal with this. Reich is acting as Lo's sponsor, right? We're finding out who Reich is in this story, right? And who he is in relation to Lo. We see that Rose now is living with Lily and Lo, right? We see a lot of Connor because we see that Lily and Lo cannot be living on their own, because when they live alone, all they're going to do is have sex all the time. And Lily is struggling with her sex addiction. Lo is sober, but he's struggling with his sobriety, right? So we've got to figure out what we need to do to help them and to support them. We see this other sort of nefarious character named Mason. He could be the one that's blackmailing her, Lily. We don't know who's blackmailing Millie, so the truth, or Lily, so the truth has to come out, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And we also start to see really that the parenting style that Lily was, succumbed to, like her mother, the way that her mother parented her, really is the cause of the start of the addiction and her behavior. And you really start to see the dysfunction of the Calloway household as well as the Hale household. So lots are developing there. So we definitely are seeing Lily and Lo, we're seeing coupling up. Lily and Lo, Rose and Connor, Daisy and Reich, and again, we learn who Reich is. Oh, and this is a 5, and Angst it's a 4, and Spice is a 3. So now this is the first Calloway Sisters spin-off novel, right? But you read it in this order. So this is Kiss the Sky, and this is Rose and Connor's story, right? And so this occurs 6 months after Addicted for Now in the timeline of chronology. So they're trying to fix the family image after the Lily and Lo debacle. So in essence, the story got out that of Lily's sex addiction. So they are trying to figure out, what do we do about this? Rose has a fashion line. Her fashion brand has been pulled from all the stores, and she has been negatively impacted from the negative press associated with the sex addiction. Okay, so then they decide that they're going to live together for 6 months in a condo for a reality TV show that Rose has agreed to try to revamp the family name, and so that they can sell the brand of her fashion line, so they can, she can try and save the business. Rose is a perfectionist, she's a genius, and she's a virgin, okay? And Scott is the producer, and this Scott dude is like, Jen from the book Refuge called it. She said he's like the wart that won't go away. He is just like, he's an asshole, predator, ridiculous, and we're going to see him in subsequent, other books. He is just disgusting, okay? And so he's an asshole. He's flirting with Rose to try to piss off Connor, but he is insinuating himself into this reality TV show. And this is where we start to see that the media really becomes a thorn in the Callaways and the Hales' side. And so they coin each of the characters in this book like this. So Daisy is the daredevil, Reich is the jackass, Lily is the sex addict, Lo is the alcoholic, Connor is the smart ass, Scott coins himself the heartthrob, and Rose is the virgin. And so in this series, we're seeing that Connor is really, really trying hard and really trying to get Rose to trust him, but Rose does not trust him, and she makes him work really, really hard because Connor appears one way to some people and another way to others. And what we find over time is that Connor is a narcissist. He is a narcissist for sure, but he is a narcissist to others, but to the people he loves, he's dedicated, fierce, and loyal. And Connor now is best friends with Lo, right, and is dating Rose, and so there is like an interconnected dynamic. We now know that Reich is Lo's brother, and he also acts as a sober coach, or, for Lo as well. So there is a lot of interconnected dynamics, and this book is really, really good. Connor and Rose's dynamic, they grow on me over time, but at this place, they weren't my favorite characters. Lily and Lo are my favorite characters, and even Daisy and Reich, but these guys were not my favorite, so I gave this a 4, Angst a 3, and Spice a 3. And there is a little bit of like BDSM stuff that goes on here. Hothouse Flower. This is the second in the Calloway series, but again, you read it in this order. This is Reich and Daisy's story. Reich is the half-brother to Lauren Hale. His dad, the Hale dad, cheated on the mom with some other woman and she got pregnant. And so what we learn is that Reich is actually the legitimate heir and Lo is the bastard child. And that comes up in other books, but it's like the dynamic is, you know, really unpacked more for you. And so this is really the story of understanding what's going on with Daisy, because Daisy is the youngest Calloway's sister. She definitely is the daredevil. She's been she has a modeling career, a very prominent modeling career that she's been pursuing, so she's kind of been off to the side, but now she's really thrown into the dynamic. Daisy and Reich have to hide their relationship from others. He's been sort of interested in her for quite a long time. This is an age gap, 7 years, friends to lovers. This is a 5, angst 5, spice a 3. I don't want to go into too much because I don't want to tell too much of what's going on in all the books because I don't want to spoil anything for you. So from here on in, I'm just going to tell you the trope, I'm going to tell you who it's about, and I'm going to give you a rating of it so that I don't spoil anything for you. Thrive is a addicted novella, if you will. This is more of Lily and Lo's story, and you are going to see everything from all the characters. You're seeing from Hothouse Flower, you're seeing Reich and Daisy, you're seeing Connor and Rose, you're seeing Lily and Lo. The story is evolving and developing. Overall, this is a 4. Angst-wise, it's a 3. Spice-wise, it's a 3. Addicted after all, the trope is friends to lovers. This is Lily and Lo's story. There is so much about their daily life that's going on. And again, you're seeing everybody. You're seeing Lily and Lo, you're seeing Daisy and Reich. There's a competition that's going on. This is from the point of view of Lily and Lo though, but you get to see the relationship develop between everybody. So you're seeing the relationship develop between Lo and Connor, Lo and Reich, Lo and Lily. You're seeing the relationship between Connor and Lily. You're seeing the relationship between Daisy and Reich. Like, you're seeing it all. And other characters as well are being introduced. And so it's a phenomenal story. So overall, it's a 5. Angst, it's a 4. Spice, it's a 4. Fuel the Fire. Again, this is from the POV of Rose and Connor. And it's like, what are they not going to do to protect their family? You see a nemesis come back. That's disgusting. You see what Connor is going to do to protect everyone. This is more of a development. Again, you know, you're understanding Connor's narcissism. He's a genius. He's a smartass. He's everything that you love. He really grows on you. And by the time you get here, you're just like, Connor, oh my God, I absolutely love you. So overall, this is a 5. Angst, it's a 4. And Spice, it's a 3. Long Way Down. This book is freaking phenomenal. It's amazing. It's written from the POV of Daisy and Reich, and you see the entire gang, and you see everything that happens. It is so angsty and so amazing. I cried throughout this book. This is really an end of an era, because you're seeing the culmination of everything come together, and there's just so many scary moments, and you're just in love with these characters to the depths of your soul. Overall, this is a 5. Angst, it's a 5. And Spice, it's a 2. And it is just, get your tissues ready, get yourself prepared, because your heart is going to stop. It's going to start again. You're going to sob. It's just going to be amazing, and it's going to give you everything in life. I'm telling you, super amazing. And then this is Some Kind of Perfect. This is book 10, and it really is meant to be read in the order that I'm presenting it to you. If you read this out of order, or if you read the Calloway, it's really going to spoil the rest of the series, and you don't want to. This is like an extended epilogue for all of these characters. So, and I love it because it's narrated by everybody that was narrating these books is narrating this, and you're getting to see each month to month what's happening with each of these characters, and it is phenomenal. And again, what I said, like I said, it is just overall, it's a 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It's just amazing, okay? And overall, I'm gonna say again, this series highlights strong family bonds, friendships, connection, but it also highlights the toxicity of the media. When the media gets a hold of a story, you know, at what lengths they will go to strive to get the perfect picture, the perfect story. Like when you're following people in reality TV shows, celebrities, like when you get a salacious story, like that there are people behind that, and that's hurtful to those people behind those stories. Even though we want to know what's going on with our favorite characters, we want to know what's happening with them, but at the same time, you know, when does it cross a line and become damaging? You know, and how do gossip and rumors and stories create more PTSD and more anxiety and cause people to be fearful to go out of their homes and, you know, afraid that, you know, somebody's going to harm them or their children or their loved ones. And this story really does highlight that the bullies, we talk about campaigns of bullies, the bullies sometimes can be the media, the very people that are meant to bring messages and information into our home. And so we really do need to look at having a campaign of kindness and having, you know, like getting our story and getting our information, but doing so in a respectful way and in a way that is not damaging and hurtful to others. So that was like really my takeaway from this series. But again, this series is phenomenal. It is one of my favorite series. It'll probably be, you know, like reach that top of the list in terms of my 2022 series that I absolutely love. It is like a 5 across the board. It is sexy and spicy and funny, and it's a rom-com. It's all of the above, and every character you're going to love. There's going to be some that you're going to love more than others, some couples that you root for more than others, but overall, like the gang together is just amazing, and I'm super excited to continue on at a later date with the Like Us series, because I do know that the first 4 books in the Like Us series are about the second generation, these characters. So, having said that, if you have not read the Addicted to You series and the Calloway sisters, please take my advice and go for it. And, you know, not everybody reads the way I do, so I understand that you're not going to dive in and, you know, read all of the series all at once, but get them, read them in the order that I just presented them to you. I'll put them in the same order at the bottom as well, and you can always go on Krista and Becca Ritchie's website and find out how to read them, and that'll be the best reading experience. You're absolutely going to love it, and you're not going to be disappointed in this rom-com, contemporary, but hard-hitting, touching some real hard-hitting issues, you know, series. You're absolutely going to love it. You guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I just have to say, like, thank you so much for all the new subscribers that have jumped on and have subscribed to the channel. It's pushing me closer to that 1,000 mark that I've really been aiming for. I greatly appreciate you guys. Do me a favor, hit that bell notification button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, which is generally Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And hit that like button because it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And that's all that I have for today. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye!